AM Best has a new report out on the critical illness insurance market, noting a marked shift as the number of employers offering the product continues to rise. I'm John Weber for AM Best TV. Here to discuss the report is Kate Stefanelli, Senior Financial Analyst, and Christopher Lewis, an Industry Analyst. And Kate, critical illness has traditionally been an individual product as opposed to a group product, but the number of group policies has been rising in recent years. What's behind that?
Well, there's several factors that are driving that trend. And I would say in general, the group supplemental health market has grown, driven by several factors, but critical illness has been one of the leaders in that market. And one of the first things that I would point out is employment trends have been quite favorable. So more employees in the market equals higher sales, and consumer awareness has been heightened. I think with employees that are having to choose high deductible plans, they're looking for other ways to supplement their financial well-being, and they've identified critical illness as one of those options.
Now, Chris, the report notes the unique premium and benefit structure of the product. Can you discuss that?
Sure. Perhaps the best way to contextualize how traditional critical illness policy works is to first compare it to a traditional term life insurance product. So in a traditional term life insurance product, there are two states. One in which the insured is alive and premiums are paid, and a second state in which the insured has died, a death benefit is paid, and the policy terminates. A critical illness policy, in its most basic form, functions in a very similar way. However, as opposed to a death benefit being paid, a critical illness benefit is paid after the insured suffers a diagnosis of one of the covered conditions. Now, this leads, as opposed to a two-state model for just mortality, this causes insurers to have to evaluate a three-state model for both morbidity and mortality. Now, although this adds some complexity to product design, it also adds flexibility because insurers can offer both a critical illness benefit and a combination death benefit in several of their policies. So thus, with that complexity, they have greater flexibility to meet consumer needs.
Kate, given the top-heavy nature of the product, do you expect more insurers to jump in, or are there barriers to entry?
Well, there are barriers to entry, but I will say that we have seen increased interest in jumping into the market, as well as we've also seen existing carriers that are really offering new and revised products that have a lot more claims triggers to them. The product that used to have 4 or 5 claims triggers, the traditional heart attack and stroke, now has so many more triggers, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, and then offers coverage for reoccurrence. And as far as barriers to entry, I think the biggest factor for that is that these companies need to realize that their service capabilities need to be excellent. That's where we're seeing the most movement from carrier to carrier, is when the original carrier cannot service the customer to the level that they would like.
Chris, what kind of impact could trends in medical technology have on this line of business?
Well, first off, as medical technology advances, people have the potential to live longer. And as people have the potential to live longer, they have a greater potential to get diagnosed with a critical illness covered condition before dying. As far as advancements in medical technology, they're often coupled with things such as more advanced diagnostics for picking up on covered diseases that previously would not have been detected. They can also lead to things such as more awareness in the general population of certain diseases. And they also lead to more utilization of healthcare screenings, so that it could also lead to critical illness insurers paying claims with a greater frequency and sooner than they normally would otherwise. Third impact would be in the realm of genetic testing. As more genetic tests are coming out, there's a greater potential for critical illness insurers to use this genetic information during their underwriting process. Now, as it stands right now, it's uncertain whether this genetic information can have a marked impact or add any value to mitigating mortality and morbidity risks. That being said, when you couple that with potential concerns around genetic information and consumer privacy, use of this genetic information may have a more negligible or even adverse effect on critical illness insurance operations than a beneficial one. So with regard to that, critical illness insurers need to evaluate the necessity, the benefits, and the consequences of using this genetic information during their underwriting process.
Conversely, we have been asking our companies if they have concern with the consumers using the information from the at-home DNA type tests like 23andMe to adversely select. So, maybe they've found out with their family history that their potential for having a heart attack is higher, and so then they would seek out coverage for that reason.
Thanks, Kate. Chris? You can find the full report online at ambest.com. For AM Best TV, I'm John Weber.